various liberal topics and current affairs happening in Bangladesh and in South Asia. This focus of the discussion in today's seminar is on women entrepreneurship in Bangladesh. Women entrepreneurship prevails in rural, urban, formal, and informal sectors. Given the limited time and scope, this afternoon, our focus today will be primarily on businesses run by urban, educated women. So it's a much more narrowed focus. On behalf of Dr. Kasim Klein, Regional Director of the Friedrich-Naumann Foundation based in South Asia, is pleased to host this program. I'd like to thank all of you for attending this event. As Yannick said, my name is Nathman Hussain. I'm the country representative of the Friedrich-Naumann Foundation Bangladesh office. I shall be the moderator in today's session. The foundation is pleased to invite three amazing personalities who have been very successful in either running their respective businesses or in facilitating entrepreneurship in general and women entrepreneurship in particular. The three speakers are Ms. Tilka Farzana, Ms. Nasima Nisha, and Mr. Nizami, Arif Nizami. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, to serve as panelists. A special thanks to Mr. Arif Nizami. He had to wake up pretty early. I believe, Arif, it's very early in the morning in Toronto, Canada, and cold Toronto. Thank you for joining us. Allow me to give a brief bio on the three respective panelists, starting with Ms. Tilka Farzana. Ms. Tilka Farzana is an entrepreneur, co-owner of a very successful bakery restaurant in Dhaka city, located in Gulshan. It's known as the Red Window. A bit about her academic and other professional activities or experience. Ms. Farzana did her undergraduate in international business and marketing from London Metropolitan University, United Kingdom. Subsequently, she did do a postgraduate degree in global leadership program, earning a dual major from Swinburne University of Technology in Australia. Since 2015, Ms. Farzana has been serving as an adjunct faculty in the Department of Management, School of Business and Economics of North-South University, Dhaka. Our second panelist is Ms. Nasima Akhtar Nisha. She's a tech enthusiast and she runs a software company which she founded, and it's known as, correct me if I'm wrong, Women and E-Commerce, WE, and also the managing director of Gregory Corporation Limited. Presently, she serves as the joint secretary of the E-Commerce Association of Bangladesh, popularly known in Dhaka as ECAB. Ms. Nisha did her BBA from North-South University and completed her master's from Southeast University. Welcome, Ms. Nisha, to this program. Our third panelist is Mr. Arif Nizami, sitting in Toronto, but he's a Bangladeshi, as far as I know. And he is a trustee of Premier Lab Youth and Innovation Trust. Premier Lab is a social good company focusing on solving problems related to youth, women, and entrepreneurs. Since 2014, his organization, Premier Lab, has received many accolades, both locally and regionally and globally. As an example, they won the Black Mantham Award for contributing to women's entrepreneurship in Bangladesh. Mr. Nizami is an alumnus of IPLP program, which is run by the US State Department, and is an alumnus of our Friedrich-Naumann Foundation's International Leadership Academy based in Germany. Welcome again, Ms. Farzana, Ms. Nasima Akhtar, Nisha, and Mr. Nizami. Let me move on. Before we dive into the panel discussion, Allow me to set the stage by highlighting a few things about women entrepreneurship in Bangladesh. Uh, in, in recent years, we have seen a considerable steady growth or increase in women entrepreneurs entering the business world. I'll throw just a little bit of statistics here. Being an economist, I trust economic census is more reliable data because they do the whole census. The last economic census was done in 2013. Based on that study, conducted by Bangladesh Bureau of Statistics, about 7.2% enterprises are owned and operated by women, the rest by men. Since there has not been another census since then, but their studies indicate that that number has gone to a double-digit figure. It could be anywhere from 11% to 13% of enterprises are run by women. A little bit of a facet discussion about women entrepreneurship in general and in Bangladesh. Their participation, their entrance, their experience is not akin to men. It's a bit more complex. They have their challenges, but also they have their opportunities, which I'm sure we'll learn a bit more when we speak to our panelists. Typically, I'm just throwing in Bangladesh at least, women tend to find their niche in the service sector more than in manufacturing, or for that matter, even in IT sector. Mr. Nizam may not agree with me, but we can make this point later on. Just two more points, and then I'll move on to the panel discussion. We economists like to use this word, the push and the pull in the labor market. Okay, so the push, I could say, are the negative factors for women to come in as an entrepreneur. When do they do it? It's like they've been obliged, or they didn't have a choice, or to follow their job. Push happens in this scenario, and then women, again, we're looking at women educated individuals, urban educated individuals, who may have lost a job, so they become unemployed, or like the boss. And also, you may want to fulfill some of their aspirations. You work on it. They may want to have flexible hours. So those factors, and also spend time with their families. Those factors sometimes, I won't use the word compel, induce them to enter into the labor market, not as an employee, but as an entrepreneur. What about the positive factors, the pull factors? How do they come in? What attracts them into the labor market as an entrepreneur? One, the independence, the flexibility, and achieving some of the personal dreams and goals, being creative, and a desire for wealth and power. Nothing wrong if you do it in a kosher way. But many women also make their contributions in the society to make it a bit different, to make it a better world, a better community. With that introduction, before I make that introduction, by the way, just as a footnote, the 2023 Nobel laureate in economics is Claudia Goldin. You know what is attributed to her contributions? Her long-term study on the very facets of why there are gender gaps in labor force participations and earnings. That's all from me about the introduction. Let's now get into the plenary discussion. The plenary discussion, hopefully the time will allow us, will kind of focus on 3 or 4 broad themes. One is getting into the business world, then their experience as an entrepreneur, challenge of sustainability and expansion, for that matter, even exit threats, and last but not the least, some issues since FNF is a development partner. What can FNF or other development partners can do to make it more conducive and promote women entrepreneurship in a more substantive way, and perhaps a little bit on the regulatory issues. So here I go. with the first theme, the journey, the starting. I would like to request Ms. Farzana to respond to my following statement. Please tell us about your business. I knew a bit about you both personally and professionally. You have to juggle your professional life with your family life, teaching at the university, the very top level private university of Bangladesh, managing the home, married, and I have a 10-plus-year-old daughter, all the commuting in Dhaka traffic, and last but not the least, the business world. Over to you, Ms. Farzana.
Thank you so much, Dr. Najmal. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and warm welcome to all the other panelists. And it's always an honor and a pleasure to be speaking on such a big platform. I hope my voice is clear and sounding okay. All good? Okay. So first and foremost, one thing I would like to say is, for a girl, especially growing up, we should not cut our wings. We should let them see their dreams, right? So for me, I always knew whichever professional line I would take, which was teaching from a very early childhood. I also was very much into culinary. But growing up, that was not given an option to me that I could actually study culinary as opposed to having another field of studies. So one I took as a passion, the other one I took as a hobby. And when it comes to juggling, it's for every woman out there that they need to juggle, they need to make time. It's important, one, to make time for oneself. It's important not to not follow your dreams. You must do that. And one thing I absolutely believe in is encouraging one another. Let it be your friends, your female colleagues, your male colleagues, everyone around you. And if you have that good group of people around you, it's easy to take your place not only as a successful professional, but also as an entrepreneur. Well, we cannot complain about Dhaka traffic at this point, but yes, the expressway has made our lives easier. And juggling at home and work, there has to be time that has to be divided amongst for everything. We need to figure out, yes, in that 24-hour day, we can actually divide time not only for ourselves, which is very important, but also for the business, for the professional work that we go into, and for family members as well. So one can be an entrepreneur at any point in life. So when we started with the Red Window in Gulshan, it is an all-woman owned cafe, and we are a group of very strong-headed women where we fight, where we love each other, where we stand for one another, but we know we're there for one another. And that's what makes our business very strong and warm. We always agree to disagree. We always understand that we will not agree on everything, but we know how we can agree to disagree and come to a point where we know how to run our business smoothly. So I would like to give the podium back to Dr. Nazmul, because I can go on and on again.
Farzana. May I request now Ms. Nisha to respond to the following question or statement. You have an e-commerce based business, right? Also, you are an active member of your association known as ECAN. Please tell us a little bit about your business and e-commerce activities in a nutshell, and perhaps reflect on what your association, ECAP, offers for aspiring women entrepreneurs. Over to you, Ms. Nisha.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Nazmul, for introducing me. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude to invite me in this wonderful session. Yes, I'm running an e-commerce business and trying to help women to focus on their online businesses. In my experience, I know that women entrepreneurs need to develop their skill time to time, but they don't know what exactly and where should they go and what to learn. We help them to learn. We help them to grow. I have created a platform for them, and which is a community marketplace where they can showcase their product, which is with a nice content, and buyer can communicate with them through online. And we have added some training and exhibition with the help of government and private sector, and also not only local, we are trying to develop their product for export market also. We already completed some delegation to UK, Singapore, and Malaysia also, and planning to move some more countries. We are trying to focus them to build their capacity, and with a nice content, nice product development, packaging, everything, and we are trying to help them to grow.
Thank you, ma'am. The third panelist, Mr. Nizami. Alif, I have a question. Looking at questions for yes. Pineal Lab, we know, has been a strong partner of the Friedrich-Naumann Foundation in Bangladesh, right? And collectively, we have worked with digital transformation, entrepreneurship development, and also civic education relating to the market economy, with a particular focus on the younger generation. And I'm very proud to say we did, I hope, made a modest change, and we found a niche over there. Please tell our listeners a bit more about Prevalence experience on entrepreneurship development in general and women entrepreneurship in Bangladesh. Remember, Arif, that we're focusing or limiting to the urban educated budding or already in business when women run enterprises. Over to you, Arif.
Right. Thank you, sir, and thank you, FNF, for inviting us and inviting me to share the platform with these great entrepreneurs right today. So yeah, thank you for that. Prerna Lab, we established Prerna Lab back in 2014. Back then, Bangladeshi startup scene, or in the new entrepreneurship scene, was pretty new. We were just starting up. The community was just getting up to support all the great entrepreneurs. So as you can guess from the name Preneur Lab, right? So the term Preneur came from entrepreneurship, right? So from the beginning, we were focusing how can we support young entrepreneurs, young developers and startups to actually build on their dreams, and how can we make sure Bangladesh startup scene is buzzing and making some impact around the world as well, right? So yeah, that's how Prerna Lab got started. We have done so many initiatives for around entrepreneurship team and around supporting women entrepreneurs specifically. We started in 2014. We started with the Startup Cup. There are a few other amazing partners with that. Women entrepreneurship was a big theme back then, and after that, every year we do something. We do some initiative to support entrepreneurs, support women entrepreneurs. We did research, we did accelerators, virtual incubation, and everything possible. Specifically, for example, Start Koro, that FNF and Prerna Lab are hosting for last 4 years, which have been great. This year we also hosted Digital with FNF, which was amazing as well, right? So Bangladeshi startup scene is having more and more women entrepreneurs. For example, startups like Food Panda, Shohoj, Prabha, ShareTrip, they have amazing women entrepreneurs, but around that only according to IFC, only 18% of the board directors of publicly listed companies are women. So this says that there's lots of things to do in ahead of us to work as well. So yeah, we are trying to make some impact with all the amazing great partners that we have in Bangladesh.
Thank you, Mr. Nizami. Let's move to the second theme. We started off this beginning of the experience, but let's talk about the ongoing experience. The experience will have its challenges, opportunities, and satisfactions, both internal and external challenges and supports. I start off with Ms. Nisha. Ms. Nisha, what major challenges women entrepreneurs experience in starting and running a day-to-day business, and in particular with e-commerce activities?
There are a lot of challenges for women entrepreneurs to run businesses. First of all, they're facing funding issues. Most of them doesn't come from a well-established family. They don't have enough money to continue their business. They need support, or actually particular on that funding issue. Second thing is proper knowledge gap. They don't have enough skill for proper e-commerce business, and nowadays markets are very competitive. To survive in the competition, they need to know a lot. They need to develop their skill time to time. Third one is courier services. I go from village to village and find many complaints about the one thing, the courier service. The entrepreneur are forced to give up their venture just because of this service not available around them. We develop this service we should develop this service to last mile. Our entrepreneur can do their business hassle-free, and lots of new entrepreneurs can join also in this e-commerce platform if we, make this service to the last mile. And another one is internet connectivity. Not only in remote area, I found in Upazila level also, there is no internet connection. Some land are totally disconnected to mainland, and our entrepreneurs are really facing trouble to run their businesses. That's all, for the challenges part.
That was good. Thank you. May I now ask Ms. Farzana on the more positive side? Could you highlight, she's talked about the challenges. Can I request you to reflect on the comparative advantages women have over men in terms of succeeding in business in Bangladesh? And where and how can they find a niche? Ms. Farzana.
Thank you so much. For women, if I believe if they want to start, they can start small. They don't have to start something very big, or they do not need to have a big amount of funds. Like, let's say if they want to be an entrepreneur, they can just, they can start small, becoming a yoga instructor or a home baker, or they can start with a small cafe or a home tutor, a boutique, a freelancer. So there are multiple options of how they can start and then build on what they want. So for them, they need to understand that not only are they doing this to generate money for the economy, they're doing it for themselves. They can not only create jobs for themselves, but for other women in the society as well. They can provide innovative products, services, they can build a community of their own. So there will be multiple hurdles, there will be multiple obstacles and ups and downs, but overcoming those hurdles and overcoming those obstacles is part of learning of how to go about and move on with their businesses. There are multiple NGOs, there are multiple institutions that actually provides training now. And those centers are actually focused on how women entrepreneurs can actually grow. So if they want to succeed better in their businesses in terms of making it bigger, making it stronger, they have multiple ways on how they can make the progressions. And there are multiple projects that are run by, for example, City Alo has a program that runs for the women entrepreneurs. They give training. There's World Bank induced with innovation training. There are multiple fundings. So there would be challenges, but again, there are pathways that they can take and move forward.
Thank you. Last but not the least, Mr. Nizami, I have a bit different question, perhaps. Your partner, I know professionally well, Raksha Kanukam, is the chairperson and co-founder of Green Lab. Is there an increasing trend in family-run business operations in Bangladesh, where both the husband and wife play an active, full-time involvement and in collective decision-making? Any differences in the respective roles and responsibilities listed by gender than compared to Western countries, or for that matter, even compared to our neighboring country, India? So this partnership in the family operation, sort of an exercise. Over to you, Arif.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think if you see different companies like very traditional, big, large organization around the world, you'll see that of course everything is mostly family-run businesses, and then they made it big and went public and everything, right? But of course, there's always this family offices and family-run businesses are a big thing around the world. Similarly, in India, if you see, some of the largest companies, for example, Reliance or Jio or something, you'll see that women of the families are also involved and making good businesses there as well. I think traditionally in Bangladesh it was a bit different, but now I think more and more families, and specifically husbands and wives, they're building great companies. So I think there are new opportunities are coming, and it's always good because, as I think our fellow panelist also mentioned, startup is really it's a tough job, right? Being in Dhaka, managing everything is really a tough job, and if families support themselves, it's a really huge benefit. And of course, different people will bring different kind of skill sets, which is ultimately helpful for the businesses. In our case specifically, of course, it will depend on a specific person how they contribute in their businesses. But in our case, Rakshanda is more calm. So she's mostly into people and project management after the execution part of the things. So she's good at that, and I'm more into ideation and some kind of like hustling and everything. But yeah, it depends on the skill sets and personalities and everything. In different other startups, if you see, I see more families are coming up together, and that is good, right, for the investors as well. They know that this family is involved, and they also trust this, right? So it is helpful for the VCs and investors as well. They know that they are totally involved, and they're doing it as their the own thing and as their number one thing. So yeah, it is helpful. I see this is in a very positive way. But yeah, of course, it depends on you know uh, different cases that we have around us.
And resist, but as Ms. Farzana mentioned that her fellow friends, they agree to disagree on a regular basis. That's model work between spouses.
In my opinion, is good, right? As much someone playing the devil's advocate in the business, it's good to validate the ideas and what to do. Decision making is the hardest job in the world. I think it is the most craziest thing in the business to what to decide. So the more opinion you have, the more arguments and more discussions you have is good for the business overall.
Thank you. Let's move to the third theme. The third theme is more on the expansion issue, the sustainability issue. Okay, you have a business, you're doing well, but also you look at the back, can I survive? Can I keep going with all the challenges? So the question I have, entrepreneurs have to have some vision and some strategic plans how to make their ventures sustainable and able to grow and expand. So with that theme in mind, may I go to Ms. Farzana and ask for her reflection on how can you make businesses grow, become sustainable, both in the medium and long term? I'm talking about women entrepreneurs.
Thank you again. So for an entrepreneur, when you start a business, first, organization skills are very, very important, starting with creativity. And one very important thing is having that constant focus on understanding how your business can grow. Because this world is very, very competitive, and regardless, for you to make a space, for you to make your place as well, you need to keep thinking about the future, and things does not always go according to plan. So keeping that in mind, there are a few things that as an entrepreneur that we can do in order to expand. First, we can always share what we are doing. Sharing your story is very important. Why? Because it encourages other women entrepreneurs. Not only that, it helps others gain that strength maybe from another woman, and we can always connect them to the other entrepreneurs, the other business leaders, Connections, good connections help you grow in business. When you promote your products, when you promote your services on the medias, not only are you doing it for the benefit of your own business, promoting another business parallelly, helping someone grow that is connected to you is also very, very important. Making that right investment where you know that you have to calculate the risks as well. So when you want to expand, you have to keep in mind that there can be, you need to leave some space where you can always fall back in case there are things that goes out of hand, And having a good mentor is also very, very important, I believe. Someone who can guide you, someone who you can take as a guiding light, or someone who can give you good advice. And I'm sure, as we can see, Nishapa is here, and she's been with so many women who are trying to grow their businesses, who are trying to do so much better, come a very, very long way. And even in the women entrepreneurs industry, whenever we're talking, she's the number one person they always approach to. And even having a pep talk with any other woman business entrepreneurs, they always mention her name as well, because see, that is what a mentor does.
Thank you, ma'am. Arif, it's your turn. Can I ask you about, you have worked in a bit of different theme over here. You have worked on several projects with governmental agencies, with development partners. Tell me, what role can the Bangladesh government play in promoting? I know this is a question asked, but if you were to just narrow it down, that really one or two important things they could focus on a bit more than what's going on right now to women entrepreneurship in the country.
Yeah, sure, sir. Yeah, we have been, working with different government agencies, specifically A2I, ICT division, from, as I mentioned, like 2014, right? So ICT division, are very supportive to the entrepreneurship scene, and specifically women entrepreneurs in Bangladesh. Recently, I think after COVID, they are also supporting, ECAP women entrepreneurs with different small funding. And other than that, they have Bangladesh government got their own VC, right, Startup Bangladesh as well, which is heavily, investing in different businesses, specifically women-led businesses as well. And Bangladesh got, different policies, the National Women Development Policy, National Women Entrepreneurship Development Policy. Those policies are there in place. But again, I think what our other panelists also said, Nisha also mentioned, right, that funding is a big problem. We have huge amount of startups right now. They're utilizing Facebook and digital channels, but they are, growing to a certain level. After that, it's really tough to, grow out of that and get out of the shell, right? So it's really a tough job, specifically, banks don't take, digital businesses, and they don't consider those as a collaterals and everything. So those are big challenges. I think government can play a big role to make sure that, digital businesses gets also, funding and support from VCs, investors, and banks, like traditional channels. And also making sure, the business registration, the ease of doing business that we talk all the time are pretty simple. Now we have, digital IDs for business and everything. But if you see getting other documents like registering a business, filing taxes and everything are really still a really tough job, right? And Bangladesh is not in a very good place in the ease of, doing business ranking. So I think, yeah, those are the core 2-3 things that the government can do, supporting more young people and women coming forward and making good businesses that will ultimately, impact the economy of Bangladesh for sure.
Thank you, Arif. You focus on more on the governmental interventions and governmental issues, but the Friedrich-Naumann Foundation is an international NGO supported by the government of the German government. It's a liberal foundation that advocates for innovation and creativity and the private sector-led growth, enhance business activities, supporting women entrepreneurship, and it ties up with almost like the issues of human rights and women's rights too. Mr. Nizami, I'll not let you rest. You've reflected more on the government side. Can you now kind of suggest, a bit more specifically, with very limited resources, and with the experience you had with us and other development partners, what can donors or development partners do to promote women entrepreneurship in Bangladesh and in South Asia? You have a regional experience and so forth. So more on the focus from the development partners. Over to you, Ari.
Sure, sir. So, I think because most of our entrepreneurs are, of course, first-time entrepreneurs, right? First generation of entrepreneurs. So when we started, we also did not had, much knowledge and know-how of how to run a business, right? We had ideas and everything, but everything else, like how to do accounting, how to do HR, how to do, manage all everything else, which were really tough. We learned over the years, and of course, we made mistakes and everything. But for different people and different companies, those are really hard job, right? To figure those things out. So I think international organizations and development partners can play a big role on education part of being an entrepreneur and how to run those things. And many people figure out after running business for a few years that this is not the way that they want to run, right? Entrepreneurship is a full-time job, I would say, right? If you are doing a job, you only have one boss, but if you're an entrepreneur, all the clients of yours are your boss. That's how I see it, right? So managing everything is really tough. So I think educating people is a big thing to do. Preparing them, for example, if some startups are preparing to raise VC funding, traditionally we are not very know how to do all those things, right? We're not very comfortable like building pitch decks and do financial planning and everything. So those place where different international development organizations can help us, number one. And also on policy development, right? We were talking about like ease of doing business for so many years. So I think making sure that the government is bringing up those policies and what are the best policies around the world, what are the best use cases. I think the policy level, it can help a lot. And the long-term support, I think our other panelists also said, how can we make sure that an entrepreneur get support for at least 1 or 2 years, right? How they can have that sandbox and not the fear of failing, and losing everything in the early of their career. So I think those are the places where the international development organization can play a big role.
Arif, I will not let you rest yet. I do have a question. I'll use my moderator's discretion, and let me literally read this question from one of the listeners. Let me read it. How can development agencies aid youth in secondary cities? Cities like Rajshahi, Mymensingh, Sylhet. How can development agencies aid youth in secondary cities to foster their entrepreneurial growth, considering that most success stories among women entrepreneurs originate from Dhaka? If you can respond to that, and I'm using my discretion that if Farzana or Misha wants to reflect a bit beyond the boundaries of Dhaka city, please do after Arif gets a chance for a minute.
Yeah, sure. Very, good question. So if we see from our experience, and I think our other panelists can, agree on the same thing. When we do anything out of Bangladesh, the energy, the excitement that we see is much more than, than if we do anything in Dhaka, to be honest, right? And because everything is happening in Dhaka, if you see, every Saturdays and, Fridays and Sundays, Dhaka is like buzzing. Things are happening around around every corner of Dhaka city. There are events and there are opportunities everywhere in Dhaka city. But if you go out of Dhaka, specifically, I'd like to mention, for example, Rajshahi, Chittagong, Sylhet, and Rangpur, Dinajpur, those areas. If you go, you'll see that the youth are really hungry and they want to do things and they want to make a real good change. But unfortunately, opportunities are not there, right? For example, if you think about the mentors and all the support system, everything is based in Dhaka. So we need to think how can we decentralize all of this and bring those great things around Bangladesh. So that will be a big thing. We have been very successful working with the universities, right? Because Bangladesh, everywhere you go, you'll see there's an university. And ICT division also, formed a different incubation center in different universities, specifically Rajshahi, Chittagong, and few other cities as well. So you will have co-working spaces, you'll have internet, those things are there. But the community, the mentorship support, those are still missing. So I think it's a good way to work with those universities, those small communities. You'll see that small organizations around the world, like startup, Rajshahi, Startup RU, and all those small organization communities are there, and they are trying to make some impact. I think, and because we have a big NRB, base as well, non-residential Bangladeshis, they also want to contribute to their, fellow cities. So there's a good way, there's a good opportunity out there, but someone needs to, break that opportunity and making sure that it's available for everyone.
Thank you. Ms. Nisha, your e-commerce association spreads far and wide beyond the borders of Dhaka. Your comment, and then Ms. Farzana, I'd like you also to make a comment.
I already know that ICT ministry already doing that. They are establishing high-tech park in every district, every cities. Some already are functional, like Rajshahi, Chittagong, Sylhet. That's already in functional, and they are offering some training also, some skill development program, and to create new entrepreneurs, not only in e-commerce sector. Some are freelancing, some are IT sector, or some are in call center. I mean, they are trying to catch the whole ecosystem entrepreneurs, so that youth people can come and educate themselves and can be a good entrepreneur. So thanks to ICT Ministry and Bangladesh government, they're doing that.
Good. Ms. Farzana, any comment from you about beyond Dhaka borders?
This practice has actually started from being in the COVID times. So we had a program that was running, Bangladesh Women Entrepreneurs Finance Initiative Corporate Connect, that was building capacity of women, small and medium enterprises, training on supplier development and pitching for new businesses. So what we did, we had conducted on behalf of MSU, who were the moderators, we have been conducting trainings for women entrepreneurs on special sets of businesses like business communication, then finances, then starting with the supplier. So there were different modules, and we actually beyond Dhaka. Now there are other programs that are going beyond from the urban to the rural areas as well. And there are clusters of women who are taken under one umbrella, and they're being trained as well.
Ms. Farzana, don't rest yet. To you, another question. Over the years, over the decades, what are development partners doing? Skills development. These are useful things. Training, e-commerce training to regular. ZIZ has done tons of work, very admirable work over the years. So have others working on access to finance, helping business associations become a bit more structured, more professional. But given the resource constraints, given priorities, if from your experience, if there is one area where you feel all are important, which focus, which intervention you think you would rate the highest if you had the extra $100 or 10,000 Taka, where should the investment be to promote women entrepreneurship? I know it's a tough question, but please give it a try.
We can focus on an area where we can not only promote the women entrepreneurs who will be participating in the business, but also in terms of the context of Bangladesh, where we can promote Bangladesh maybe on a world map, not only growing within the country, but maybe we can try and tap and access areas beyond the national borders. For example, there are many women who are working maybe in the jute sectors, or maybe women who are happy to expand in weaving, women who are working with the tatis from who are making jamdanis, and they can be accessing the world market on a different level, I believe.
Thank you. Now to Ms. Nisha. Ms. Nisha, I know e-commerce is an area, in fact, Friedrich-Naumann Foundation has work partnered with your organization, ECAB. There are various regulatory challenges you encounter. Is there one particular one you really would like to see bring some reforms that could make considerable expansion of e-commerce activities in Bangladesh? Ms. Nisha?
Yeah, there are some recommendation I would like to, I want these changes. I think first of all, the renew option of trade license. Trade license renewal fee should be waived for 5 years for women entrepreneurs. By doing this, I think many entrepreneurs will be more motivated to do online work, and some new entrepreneurs also will be joined in this network. And second thing is, women cannot apply for loans due to the complexity of many documents and some complicated rules. Bangladesh Bank should ease up some rules so that more women can apply for the loans. And another thing is, I think more women focused co-working space should be open.
Thank you all. I'm not only the moderator, I'm also the timekeeper. It's 5:48 in my watch. I'm going to use this discretion because I ran out of my questions. I'm going to ask each of the panelists, because it was a bit one way. I posited the questions. So I will start with Mr. Nizami first, while the other two ladies can think about it. You get 2 minutes to convey or talk about anything you want to do about women entrepreneurship that we have not covered until now. So, and on any issues, over to you, Mr. Nizami. Then and then
yeah. Okay. So I think entrepreneurship is something I'm just like, because this is something new. You just asked. I'm just like making this up right in my mind right now. So entrepreneurship is something, there's lots of risk taking are there, lots of chances of failing, because people said, right, 90% of the startups will fail in the first 2 years, and all those things are there. So I think traditionally in our culture, we want that our sons and our daughters will be successful, they will have a very good career, and they will do certain of things. But those are not the cases all the time. In the startup world and business world, you need to take the risk. It is challenging. There's more chances of failing than to be successful, right? So traditionally, from the families that we have, I think there's a need to make that changes. I think I'll just mention one example. I think in India recently, what happened in last 2 years, I think Shark Tank made a big impact, right? People knew that, okay, startups can make big, and it is actually glamorous, and our daughters and sons can do certain things. So I think some kind of breakthrough is needed in Bangladeshi society as well. We are building, of course, startups, businesses, but again, to a certain level, because we don't want to fail, we don't want to do, I would say those startups are, mostly SMEs, right? But yeah, to make sure that, we have a unicorn from Bangladesh and everything, we need education in the families as well. So the new educational curriculum that we're having, I hope that we have some kind of element around that. Like, business in Bangladesh is never treated as a good thing, right? We thought that, okay, ব্যবসা করে এসব কিছু নিয়ে, some kind of that, right? They are businesses and ব্যবসা করলে একটু negatively একটা দেখা হয় traditionally, right? So we need to get out of this and making sure that businesses are actually creating opportunities, creating job, and making an impact. So some kind of traditional change in the families I would love to see that in coming years.
Very insightful on the spot. Ms. Farzana, anything you want to talk about?
I agree with what everybody has to say. We need to change how we look at businesses in modern times, and encouraging male, female, both together, making sure that they're confident in what they're doing is very, very important. And having that positive note while rearing a child. They need to be confident not when they're 18 years old or 25 years old. They need to have that confidence in themselves from their childhood. It's very important. And understanding that failure is a pillar to success. You can fail. It's okay to fail. And having that place to fall back and grow again is very, very important. There is no harm in failing, but there's always another chance. There's always another chance. And especially for women entrepreneurs, they need to have that basic self-confidence. And as Nisha has mentioned, I completely agree with her, especially on the part when it says about the loans that she has mentioned. It's very difficult for women, especially when they want to go for credits or any other forms of loan. Maybe they, like how we have the voter ID and ID cards, with something more simpler that can make their lives more easier. If they want to start with an entrepreneurship, they can register under an organization and make things much more available in terms of suppliers, in terms of meeting the buyers. Creating better network for them would always encourage more women to come into business.
So I think you're on mute.
Ms. Nisha, 1 minute as we're running out.
Yes, I want to mention that my platform, I established it in 2017, and now we have 1.4 million members in our group, and we have created 400,000 entrepreneurs who are working with local Bangladeshi product. And in every 28 days, 9 million members are visited in our group. But we are dealing really so many stories every day. We have found that the most of the women doesn't have proper business plan, and for this they had to struggle a lot. They can't expand their business, and lack of marketing knowledge, they couldn't sustain for a long time. And family problem is another barrier. Family don't let them permit to move around and bind them with so many rules. These are the main problems I almost dealing every day. I want actually all the women should come to entrepreneurship, and if they come and join themselves in entrepreneurship, they can contribute their families as well as their our Bangladeshi economies also.
Thank you. I won't let you off the hook. I have a interesting kind of a sensitive question from one of the participants. Again, I'll read it verbatim. If any one of the panelists would like to respond, please raise your hand. If not, I'll be happy to discuss it with the person who has asked the question after the session. Here I go. How lack of democracy and issues regarding freedom of speech influence women entrepreneurship scenario in Bangladesh? Any takers?
I would take that as a women in families, right? If they don't have like speaking power in the family, and I think what other entrepreneurs have also said, if they're not being supported by the family and the families are restricting themselves of doing things, of course, is a big issue, 100%, right? As Nishap also said and Tilka also said, right? We need to make sure that they have the freedom of the things that they want to do, not what I want them to do, right? And if some women entrepreneurs make some good impact, we see that on the internet as well, people love to troll and people love to make all the hate comments and hate speech and everything as well, right? So yeah, I think it is we need freedom of speech and making sure that people love to do economic freedom and everything for the individual, not only in the government level, not only in the international level, but also in the family level as well, right? So all the families should be very supportive to make sure that the women, what they want to do, they have the they don't need the permission, right? They have the permission themselves. They can make any decision that they want.
Thank you. Anybody else? Just anything? If not,
I think women, first of all, they need to set up in their mind, then they will do it. That's the important thing, not actually the Bak Shadhinata and democracy. That is actually all, I mean, rubbish, I think. They need to set up in their mind. I will do it. I have to do it. And of course, family support. Family support is very important. Without family support, women cannot sustain, I mean, their dream.
Last word from Ms. Farzana.
Democracy starts within themselves and at homes rather than anywhere else. It's as I completely agree with Nishapa. That's the confidence that you need to have within yourself that will drive you through. Absolutely.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for this fascinating discussion. For the wider audience, please note that FNA Bangladesh intends to host a similar program on 18th of December of 2023, where the topic or theme will be the upcoming national elections of Bangladesh. Okay, we'd like to invite you to join that event. Before concluding, I offer my sincere thanks to all of you who took the time to attend the online seminar. A special thanks to my fellow FNF colleagues for their contributions. And finally, I express my warm appreciation to our three panelists, Tilka Farzana, Ms. Nasima Akhtar Nisha, and Arif Nizami from Bangladesh for their very insightful comment, observations. It was very illuminating. Thank you again. With those concluding remarks, it's good evening from Dhaka, Bangladesh.